So, that's a lot. And stuff that we, a few years ago, would we be at the high school? Would we have a new Saltillo Station? Would steam trains be running to the high school? Just wouldn't have thought it. So it's amazing what we've been able to do, and I just can't thank all of our generous donors enough for what they're enabling us to do, and it's just exciting to be a part of, and I hope everyone feels that way. And now we've got, I'd say, even more momentum, right? Think about what we've done this year and what we can do next year. So let's look at next year's campaign. So talk a bit about the clearing and what that enables. So next year we want to focus the March to Saltillo on building track from Pogue south. So basically, now that we'll have that stretch cleared, the Price's Bridge, we'll be able to immediately, as soon as we have materials, start rebuilding track from Pogue Station, crossing at Pogue Station, through Pogue siding to Price's Bridge. And so the goal of the campaign will be to fund and provide the materials, the ties, spikes, bolts, that we need to build that track, and be working on that so that when the bridge is done, we'll have two short segments to connect, and we'll have the railroad restored all the way past Pogue siding. So that's the goal for next year for March to Saltillo. We're looking for 115K out of the base plan for that, which will be the largest base amount that we've asked for the March to Saltillo, all of which will go to track materials. So we're nearly done with Saltillo Station, but not quite. If you come out tomorrow and see it, you'll see that the interior is just studs. And so we want to next year complete the interior of the station, including installation of the historic pieces salvaged from the original building. And so to do that, we need to purchase the required correct interior materials, including the siding for the walls, wing coating and siding for the walls, which we will have custom milled exactly to the historical profiles. Correct flooring, correct ceiling, including the correct stamped metal ceiling that was in the waiting room and other features. So, and then our volunteers will install that material to complete the station. Looking at what we need to raise an additional $35,000 to purchase all those materials and allow us to complete that project. So that's part of the 26 plan. And then in Rockhill Furnace, keep going as we have so that really with a big focus on roofs, but on a big roof, we want to fund the first phase or first half of replacing the roof on the roundhouse, which of course is a key building for the complex and for the operating railroad. And the roof that's on it is leaking on the locomotives and onto the structure, and needs to be replaced. And working with Brad and James, we plan to replace that because it's such a large project. The current plan is to do that in two pieces, front one half and then the inner half and outer half. So we want to bite off at least the first half, and also a little bit in here to buy some additional materials to complete Storehouse 2. In total, we're targeting $55,000 in the 26 campaign for that Rockhill work. And then continuing to support the archives. I'll allow them to continue to do all of the good work to manage the combined EBT and FEBT collections and new donations, led by Julie and the professional staff, supported by knowledgeable FEBT volunteers. continue to process and share EBT and Rockhill Iron and Coal Company records, materials, maps, etc., found in the depot, and with growing FEBT collections, and prepare to transition to the new facility in Mount Union that we will be able to fund this year. The archives also intends to develop and share a general index of EBT corporate records for researchers, a new activity this year, to support all of it. And we talked about it, and continue to support the interns that are a key part of that. We want to raise $95,000 in 26 campaign to continue all of that work. And then Locomotive 15, some good discussion. Brad and Lynn talked about the plans for that. It is the next steam engine that is intended to be brought back to service. And we want to continue to support that effort through the Friends campaign, working with Brad and Dave Dimitrovich, we identified as purchasing new stables that will be required as part of that. So we're going to allocate $15,000 for 15 to buy new stables as part of that repair effort. And then lastly, we added, an allocation for future restoration projects. So as we've gotten better at executing projects and allocating all of our accumulated restoration funds for specific projects that we can actually spend the money on, we recognize the need to have some money available for things that we haven't foreseen or for plans that change. The turntable was a good example of that. That wasn't on our radar, that it was so urgent when we planned last year's campaign. And fortunately, we had enough money over the original goal that allowed us to do that. But things come up, right? We find new things, and we have, besides supporting all of the complex here, we have Robertsdale, right? We have 2 buildings there and everything to support. And those are old buildings that need care and feeding, that things pop up. So anyways, we would like to set aside $35,000, which is 10%. If you haven't done the math, is 10% of the 26 campaign set aside for give us some flexibility to address those new or unanticipated restoration needs during the year. So in all, sum that up, we're seeking to raise $350,000 in new funds to support those goals. Again, March to Saltillo, 115, Saltillo Station, 35, Rockhill, 55, Archives, 95, 15K for Locomotive 15, and $35K for future restoration projects.